The Cathedral of the Holy Trinity is a cathedral for the Church of England Diocese of Gibraltar in Europe. Located in Cathedral Square, it is sometimes referred to simply as Gibraltar Cathedral, although it should not be confused with the Cathedral of St.Mary the Crowned, which is Gibraltar's Roman Catholic cathedral. The cathedral is particularly notable for its Moorish Revival architecture, particularly in its use of horseshoe arches. This is an architectural style inspired by Moorish architecture, appropriate given the period of Moorish control in Gibraltar's history. 19th century. The church was originally built to meet the needs of Anglican worshippers among the civil population of Gibraltar, as the King's Chapel was primarily reserved for military use. John Pitt, Earl of Chatham, who had arrived as governor of Gibraltar in 1820, persuaded the British government to sell a derelict building and use the money to build a church on the land. Building work began in 1825, and the church was completed in 1832. The architect is unknown. Colonel Pilkington of the Royal Engineers was in charge of the work. During the building process, the partially completed church had to be used for a short time as an emergency hospital during an epidemic of yellow fever. The church was consecrated in 1838 by Archdeacon Edward Burrow in the presence of the Dowager Queen Adelaide, widow of William IV. It was raised to cathedral status in 1842, with the creation of the Diocese of Gibraltar at the time of enthronement of George Tomlinson as the first Bishop of Gibraltar in Europe. 20th century. The cathedral suffered no significant damage during the Second World War. After the war had come to an end, Bishop Harold Buxton made an appeal for the purpose of saying thank you to Malta and Gibraltar, with the intention of raising funds to be spent on improvements for St. Paul's Pro-Cathedral, Malta and the cathedral in Gibraltar. In Gibraltar, the money raised was used for the construction of new vestries and the creation of a second chapel in the south aisle of the cathedral, to be dedicated to St. George and in memory of all who lost their lives in the Mediterranean area during the war. A stone from Coventry Cathedral, which was ruined in the Blitz, is let into the wall behind the baptismal font. It is a small stone with a cross. The explosion of the RFA Biedenim on the 27th of April 1951 caused substantial damage to the cathedral, lifting the roof and smashing the stained glass. The windows in the sides of the building were reglazed with plain glass, whilst the gathered fragments of colored glass were used to construct the new stained glass window which remains in the east wall, above the high altar. The cathedral required extensive repair work and was not in use until Christmas of that year. Clergy. As with most Church of England cathedrals, the priest in charge of the building and its ministry is called the Dean. He is assisted by Andrew Jacobson, since the 30th of November 2011, who also acts as port chaplain to the Port of Gibraltar. The third priest at the cathedral is a non-stipendiary honorary minor canon. The honorary precentor and minor canon is Adrian Mumford, who is diocesan secretary and chapter clerk. The bishop in Europe is not resident locally, rather he lives in Brussels, near his Pro-Cathedral of the Holy Trinity. Gallery.